working with the Stylize filters in Photoshop. The Stylize filters allow us to add unique effects. Stylize filters are painted or impressionistic effects by displacing pixels and heightening the contrast within an image. So some of the commonly used Stylize filters under Filter menu and Stylize. We have Diffuse. Now diffuse allows us to break up the image so that it looks less focused. And if I zoom out here a little bit, you might be able to see that a bit better. And I can also click and drag inside this window to look in a specific area. The darkened only command replaces the light pixels with dark pixels. The lighten only command replaces the dark pixels with light pixels. So darkened only replaces light pixels with dark, and the lighten replaces the dark pixels with light. So it lightens it. If I click OK, you may or may not see not too much changing happening right with that one. Under Stylize once again, and we see the wind. Wind is a commonly used Stylize filter, and this just conveys the directed motion. So again, you can kind of see I can do a wind, I can do a blast, which increases that contrast, and I can do a stagger, which makes it very irregular. And then I can go from the right, or I can do the wind from the left. So from the right or from the left. Okay, I'll cancel that and go back under Filter. The Stylize Extrude. So Extrude has a little bit more features here, and we don't necessarily see a preview. Extrude gives a 3D texture to a selection or to a layer. Okay, so it kind of gives that effect. Now this one, little bit of time it took. You can see that a quick progress bar showed up. So here you can see the extrusion in 3D of a texture that's being applied. That was Extrude. A couple more very frequently used Stylize filters. We have the Emboss, and that Emboss again gives a 3D texture to a selection. It appears to raise or stamp. Okay, so we're getting this three-dimensionality of it popped up or it's being stamped. And again, we can change the height here, and as I increase that, you'll see that it appears more embossed, and the amount, and then the direction of the light source for where it's going to be embossed from. Under Filter and Stylize, the Find Edges. This is another one that's kind of interesting, and it gives kind of the edges of color. It applies right away. I don't have any settings there. We call it kind of like a coloring book feel or coloring book effect. So now if I wanted to apply a filter to a selection, I need to define the area by using the selection tool and then choose the desired filter. I want to make a note. While this is a smart object, let's go ahead and do that. And I'll just again make a little box here. With that selected area, I'm on my proper layer. I'm going to go up to Filter, and I'll choose one of my Stylize, like Find Edges. So here it is, it's being applied, and you can see what happened is it actually did a mask on the smart filter. So I can actually click this mask, making it active with the black and the white, and I could paint, or I could add white or add black to it to increase or decrease the amount of area the filter is being applied. If I want to repeat a filter, under the Filter menu, here's my Fine Edges, and it will repeat it. Now this time I didn't have a selection, so it repeated everything, including on my selected area. So to repeat a filter again, you can just do the Command or Control F, or go under the Filter menu, and your last used filter will appear right there. To fade out a filter, I can go under my Edit, and here's the Fade Fine Edges. So here I can change it by how much I want it to be applied, and look at how the last one I did was to the entire area, but when you fade it out, some more of your original pixels are coming through, and you can see that I'm fading that effect. So some of the filters are really great, but they're a little too strong, and so I can certainly change the effect of them by fading them back. I'll cancel that. If I double click on Fine Edges here, it will open up my box for that fine edges. But if I use a gallery here, let's go into filter gallery, and I've got a lot going on, but I just wanted to share with you what's happening with the filter gallery. So I'm able to combine effects. So let's say I wanted this effect, I add new, and I want maybe that effect. So if I want both those effects, actually, let's add one more. New. Let's do a edges here. So maybe I want just the watercolor and the torn edges, or the torn edges and the palette knife. And I'm giving it a few minutes to update here. That one's not doing anything. So if I wanted to get rid of this one, I can just press my delete key and it's gone. So I can keep adding, just make sure that you're making a new and you're applying your new filter. If you want to get rid of one, you delete it. And when I click OK, that bundle, that package comes together as a filter gallery effect under my filters for my smart filters on this specific layer. So I can turn all of that on and turn all of that on. Now remember, it's still masking because I have a mask here. It's going to mask that effect. Okay, so up to this point, everything's been non-destructive because I've applied it with a smart filter. So play with those stylized filters, learn how to fade the effects of a filter. It'll help in creating that perfect effect.